Fuller, the wife of the late Rod Fuller, and Patricia Crowe, who's just another Pat Crowe. And I'd like to invite Mr. Paul Green, the President of the Hang Gliding Federation, to have a few words and talk to Pat, and after that we'll be open for questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Graham. Well, distinguished guests, and there are a number here, the Dickinsons, the Fullers, and of course the Crowes. And ladies and gentlemen, fellow pilots, I am delighted to be here for a couple of reasons. One in particular, to see a very deserving man receive the recognition he richly deserves, and to help complete a process that commenced on this river, on this day, 55 years ago. I'm also delighted to be here on a personal level. For me, this is a home game. I was born in Grafton. My father, Ralph Green, was one of the country's best cyclists in the 50s and 60s. And I grew up in Grafton in the early years, and I fondly remember the Kitwick Park on Friday nights, the Grafton Wind Varels. I remember the displays of the powerboats on the river. I remember the displays of the Water Ski Club on the river. I remember the floods, pre and post the levee. And I also remember at an early age the Examiner, the picture, the page in the Examiner with when this event occurred. And I can remember the picture had the wind was sort of in against the bank, and all of those things were in my memory from that from my early years here. We then moved to Coffs, and then things have evolved from there. 1963 was a memorable year for a number of other reasons as well. There were a number of history-making events that occurred. John F. Kennedy was assassinated in 1963. Ronald Biggs engineered the Great Train Robbery in 1963. I see that struck a chord here. Not sure what that's telling me. Robert Menzies defeated Arthur Caldwell and won his last term in office in 1963. Bob Dylan released back in the previous centuries. He dreamed of finding a means to facilitate the simplest form of flight, not just once, but something that could be repeated again and again safely. That dream was realised on this day in 1963 on this river. What occurred was a collaboration encompassing the simple genius of John Dickinson's wing, the courage and skill of Rod Fuller, and the consummate mastery of the man driving the boat that provided the lift that gave the John Dickinson dream life, and it's that man, Pat Crowe, that we honour today. I won't add to the writings that Grant Henderson has so eloquently put together that describes what happened here. But I would ask you to consider this. When this event occurred, there was no safety officer briefing on site before this happened. There was no history to any of this. There was no HGFA operations manual or any of that sort of thing. There were no CASA regulations. It was a wonderful era actually, because in those days you actually got to use your own brain and work it out as you went, not like it is these days. But there was none of that. So here you've got these guys and they're all invested in the successful flight. You've got John, who's got the wing, thinks it's going to work, wants it to work, hopes it's going to work, is so desperately keen to make this happen and put so much into it. You've got Rod wanting to live, wanting to survive, wanting to make it happen, wanting to pilot the thing, wanting to make it go in the way that he'd like it to go. And you've got Pat driving the boat, providing the lift, equally wanting to make sure that it all happened. And so you've got all these guys invested in it, and it must have been a daunting thing to contemplate at that particular time. The point of it is, I guess, that needed the contribution of all three. They were all, the eternal gratitude of the millions of pilots that have since flown hang gliders right around the globe. It was a spectacular success. It's often said that history is made when ordinary people do extraordinary things. What these men accomplished was remarkable by any judgment. It was a pivotal moment in aviation history. Now, Pat Crowe's role was critical. He had to be as one with his craft, the elements, and the package that was literally blowing in the wind that was tied off the back of that boat. And it's a matter of public record that they succeeded and the birth of modern hang gliding occurred. I wonder at the time, did they really appreciate the gift that their collaboration was to bring to the world? There have been literally millions of hang glider flights around the world. And then we've seen the birth of paragliding, which is a different sort of craft, but was clearly influenced, had to have been influenced by what they could see happening with hang gliding. And it's brought a joy to mankind that hitherto did not exist. Could they have appreciated at the time that some 50 years later, two pilots, Johnny Durant Jr. and Dustin Martin of the United States, would set off from Zapata in Texas in hang gliders, and some 12 hours later, as it was falling dust, landed. The American finished just a couple of kilometres ahead of Johnny, and they landed, they flew in excess of 760 kilometres in hang gliders to set a world record. An extraordinary effort. And that started with what you three guys did, with what, it can't be with us clearly, and that's a sad thing, but what those three men did here on the river 55 years ago, that's where it started. They were the ones responsible for the birth. Now, all of us get to observe history when it happens. Some get to actually participate in it in a side way. But there's a relatively minuscule few people, of all the billions of people that have walked on this earth, that actually get to create history. Pat Crowe, you are one of the few that actually got to create some history. Now, the FAI, the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale, is the world body, the governing body for air sports. It maintains world records for aeronautical activities, including ballooning, aeromodelling, unmanned aerial vehicles, and also for human spaceflight. FAI medals and diplomas aim at giving public recognition to those who have made outstanding contributions to aeronautics and astronautics, especially in the field of sporting aviation. FAI awards are hard won. They're treasured and they carry great prestige. They're not given quickly. There is a significant validation process to go through. It's a bit like canonisation without the miracles. But in some ways, it was almost a miracle that occurred back here 55 years ago. Pat, it's been a while in coming, but the weight only adds to the credence and the validity of your unique role in the birth of modern hang gliding. With the awarding of this diploma today, the Holy Trinity of Dickenson, Fuller and Crowe is now complete. Others tried before 63 and didn't get the job done. And others have pushed the boundaries since then. But only three men were involved in the birth of modern hang gliding, and Pat Crowe, you were one of those men. Pat Crowe, it is now my great honour, and it's with the utmost respect that I now invite you to accept the diploma from the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale in recognition of your unique, irreplaceable and irrefutable contribution to the birth of modern hang gliding. Congratulations.
Thank you.